Hey everybody, it's Blue here from Blue Bears Games, and for this week's videos, I will be unboxing and then upgrading the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Grand Larceny Commander Precon. Before we get started, I'd like to take a moment to ask for your help in supporting my channel, which can be done in the following ways. Subscribing to the channel, sharing any of my content on your socials, watching some of my many other videos, purchasing Super Thanks, purchasing channel memberships, purchasing decks that you may have seen on this channel directly from me on the Blue Bears Games Facebook page, and/or visiting our sponsor at arcane-fortress.com and using discount code BlueBear at checkout if you decide to purchase any of their amazing gaming supplies from them. Anything that you do will help support my channel immensely, and I thank you for it. Now that that is out of the way, let's get to today's video. This video will be the unboxing of the Precon, where I'll show you everything that comes in the box, including the deck card by card. And then tomorrow's video will be an upgrade guide where I'll go over some options on what I believe you should take out and then add back in to help make this deck either more fun to play a little better, or best case scenario, both. This deck's color identity is black, green, and blue, also known as Sultai, and uses Gonti, Canny Acquisitor as the commander. This is the second version of Gonti Wizards has created. The first version dealt with stealing your opponent's cards, so going by that and the name of this precon, I can safely assume that this version will as well. Let's take a look at what it does, and we will find out. This version of Gonti is 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black, and 2 generic mana to cast for a 5/5 legendary Aetherborn Rogue with 2 abilities. The first ability says that spells you cast but don't own cost 1 generic mana less to cast. The second ability says whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, look at the top card of that player's library, then exile it face down. You may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. It's safe to say that stealing opponents' cards is Gonti's thing. I gotta be honest, I'm a pretty big fan of this strategy, but that's probably because sometimes I like to be the at the table. I've said it many times before that people really hate when you steal their stuff, and it looks like that's going to be the main theme for this precon. Knowing how Wizards makes precons though, I know that there's some type of sub-theme, but you can't really tell what it is going solely by what Gonti does. The only way to find out is to just rip this bad boy open and show you what's in the box. Here is what the outside of the box looks like. It has Grand Larceny. It is, as I said before, black, green, and blue. It says steal cards, generate mana. On the back is a picture of Gonti, who is the commander, and then we'll just open it up and see what else is inside. Okay, so we start with the little insert that has the punch-outs that are not anywhere near as good as they used to be. This one has all +1/+1 counters on the back. They're not as thick as the original ones were, but they get the job done. We have an insert and a box, so let's get that out of the way. First, the box. These are a little bit harder for some reason put together than the last set. I don't know why they're so hard to get back together, but they do eventually go. Right, so here's a picture of Gonti on the back of it. On the front it has the 3 mana symbols, and on the sides it has Planeswalker symbols, and of course on the top it just says Magic the Gathering. So that's what the box looks like. The insert. So on one side it's a pretty much like a poster-sized picture of Gonti, and then it has a little bit about the deck. On the other side, it has a little bit about the deck as well, about playing it, and then the extra commander rules, and then of course this is going to be, from what I understand, these have had the secondary commander on this side. Anybody who doesn't use these as dividers, you're missing out. They actually make pretty good dividers if you're lacking in dividers. I have a shortage of them because I have so many cards, so they make a good little helper as far as dividing your cards up in card boxes. Life wheel, they all come with a life wheel now. This one is a generic one. And then we have the 2 important things here, the Collector's Booster sample pack, and then the deck itself. So let's start with the sample pack. I will zoom, open it up, and show you what came in that. I haven't had anything too terrific so far. So here we can hope. First thing is Electro Dominance, foil in the Big Score special treatment, and a Murder in the Big Score special treatment. Again, nothing too spectacular. At least one of them was a rare. It looked like for a second it wasn't going to be a rare. Nothing pricey here. I'll have the prices so you can see that. But we're here for the deck, right? So let's open that up, and I'll show you everything that comes inside. And again, the pull cord is bad. So I've already shown you what Gonti does. So we'll move on to the secondary commander, and it is Felix 5 Boots. This one is 5 mana total for a 5/4 legendary Ooze Rogue that has Menace, Ward 2, and the last ability says that if a creature you control dealing combat damage to a player causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. Not horrible, actually. Those kind of abilities do a lot. So as far as the rest of the deck goes, we'll start off with a reprint of Thieving Skydiver. Sage of the Beyond. I do not believe that's a reprint. This is a 7 to cast 5/5 Spirit Giant with flying. An ability that says spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 2 less to cast, and it has Foretell of 5. Ghostly Pilfer, that is a reprint. Diluvian Primordial, another reprint. Stolen Goods, reprint. Curse of the Swine, that is also a reprint. Dazzling Sphinx, this does not look like a reprint. This is a 5 to cast 4/5 Sphinx with flying and an ability that says whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card outpaying its mana cost. Then that player puts the exiled cards that weren't cast this way on the bottom of their library in a random order. Arcane Heist. This is a 4 to cast sorcery that says you may cast target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost, and if that spell would be put into a graveyard, exile it instead. And it has Cipher. Cipher is something that wasn't really used very much. It was back in the Return to Ravnica era. Snarking Spelljacker is a 5 to cast 3/3 Djinn Wizard Rogue that has Flash, Flying. When it enters the battlefield, exile target spell an opponent controls, which is kind of cool. And then the last ability says when it attacks, if a card is exiled with it, you may cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. Definitely stealing spells in this. Mind's Dilation, that is a reprint. Gonti, Lord of Luxury, that is a reprint. Predator's Hour, this looks new to me. This is a 2 to cast sorcery. It says until end of turn, creatures you control gain Menace, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of that player's library face down. You may look at that and play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast those spells. Next is Brainstealer Dragon. This is a 7 to cast 6/6 Dragon Horror that obviously has flying because it's a dragon, and 2 other abilities. The first one says at the beginning of your end step, exile the top card of each opponent's library. You may play those cards as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. And the last ability says whenever a non-land permanent an opponent owns enters the battlefield under your control, they lose life equal to the mana value. Not bad. Cunning Rhetoric is a 3 to cast enchantment. It says whenever an opponent attacks you and or one or more planeswalkers you control, exile the top card of that player's library, and you may play that card for as long as it remains exiled, and again, you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to do so. A lot of that going on around here. Thieving Amalgam, 7 to cast 6/7 Ape Snake. Interesting amalgamation, I guess. It says at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, you manifest the top card of that player's library. And then it says whenever a creature you control but don't own dies, its owner loses 2 life, and you gain 2 life. Orochi Soul Reaver, a 6 to cast 5/4 Snake Ninja Rogue. It has ninjutsu, and then whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token and manifest the top card of that player's library. Thieving Varmint, a 2 to cast 2/1 Varmint that has Death Touch, Lifelink, and an ability that says you can tap it and pay 1 life to add 2 mana of any one color, and spend this only to cast spells that you don't own. Heartless Conscription. It's an 8 to cast sorcery. It says exile all creatures, and then for each card exiled this way, you may play that card for as long as it's exiled, and again, spend mana as though it were mana of any type to do so. And then you exile this spell because that's just kind of nuts. Nashi Moon Sage's Scion, a 3 to cast 3/2 Rat Ninja. Woohoo, more ninjas. Has ninjutsu, because it's a ninja. And then whenever it deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of each player's library, and until end of turn, you may play one of those cards, and if you cast a spell this way, pay life equal to the mana value rather than paying its mana cost. Baleful Mastery, that's a reprint, it's removal. Orin Frostfang, and I believe that's how it's said. That is a good reprint. Savvy Trader. This is a 4-cast 3/3 human citizen with looks like 2 abilities. First one says when it enters the battlefield, exile target permanent card from your graveyard, and you may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. And then spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 1 less to cast. Tower Winder is a 2-cast 1/1 snake with reach and death touch. That's a good set of keyword abilities for a creature. And then an ability that says when it enters the battlefield, search your library and or graveyard for a card named Command Tower, reveal it, put it into your hand, and if you search your library this way, shuffle. That's actually quite good. That's really good, actually. Khazar Ruthless Stalker. This is a reprint. It has a partner. Silent Blade Oni, another reprint. Hostage Taker. Odric Spymaster of Trest. Those were both reprints. Fallen Shinobi. Cold-Eyed Selkie. Siphon Insight. Extract Brain. I think that this is not a reprint. So it's a 1 blue and 1 black and X sorcery. It says target opponent chooses X cards from their hand. Look at those cards. You may cast a spell from among them without paying its mana cost. Shadow Mage Infiltrator, or Finkel, because that's who that was. Baleful Strix. Culling Ritual, some removal. Thief of Sanity. Villainous Wealth. A lot of stealing stuff here. I figured this was going to be in here. The Mimeoplasm. Plasm Capture. Here's the partner to the one previously. Ukima Stalking Shadow. Blade Griff Prototype. I do not recognize this one. This is a 5-cast 3/2 Griffin with flying, an ability that says when it deals combat damage to a player, destroy target non-land permanent of that player's choice that one of your opponents controls. Interesting. Chaos Wand. Dream Thief's Bandana. This looks new. 2-cast artifact equipment. It says whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, look at the top card of their library and exile it face down. For as long as it remains exiled, you may play it, and mana of any type may be spent to cast the spell, and it equips for 1. Oblivion Sower. Overflowing Basin. Okay. Drowned Catacomb. Temple of Deceit. Temple of Malady. Darkwater Catacombs, and Fetid Pools. So that is the first half of the deck. Let's move on to the next half. Yavimaya Coast. A lot of good reprint budget dual lands. Iridescent Bog. Exotic Orchard. Underground River. Woodland Cemetery. Sunken Hollow. Temple of Mystery. Hinterland Harbor. Dark Slick Shores. Flooded Grove. Really good. There's a lot of good budget dual lands in here. Land of War Race. Slitherblade. Whirler Rogue. Triton Shorestalker. Feed the Swarm. Silhana Sedgewalker. Rampant Growth. Kodama's Reach. Void Attendant. Ooh, 3 visits? Wow. This isn't even a Universes Beyond or a special kind of, like a Modern Horizons type of precon. It's just got some really good stuff in it. Putrefy. Trigon Predator. Doc. Arlok. Grizzled Genius. So this isn't a reprint. This is actually from the set that this came from. This is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction card. Arcane Signet. Darksteel Ingot. Felwar Stone. Prismatic Lens. Soul Ring. Command Tower, which is now searchable, apparently. Reliquary Tower. Wow, there's some really good stuff here. Access Tunnel. Demir Aqueduct. Opulent Palace. And then we're going to hit some islands, some swamps, and a couple of forests. So those are the lands. And then we have the tokens. Thopter, Boar, Eldrazi Scion. Bounties. Forgot about the bounties. There's 3 bounties in here. And then on the other side, we've got this thing, which doesn't matter. Here's the reward for all the 3 bounties, but you can read them if you get the deck. Some treasure, manifest, treasure, manifest, treasure, manifest. And that, my friends, is what comes in the Outlaws of Thunder Junction Grand Larceny Commander Precon. Okay, so on top of the stealing cards theme, this deck also had a Ninja Kindred sub-theme paired with unblockable creatures similar to the Yoriko budget build I featured on this channel about a year ago. I'm a fan of this precon for when you just want to annoy your playgroup, and let's be honest, we all feel like doing that some days. Like all WotC precons though, it can use some improvements. I believe the direction I'll take is removing the Ninja's sub-theme to focus more on the theft aspect of the deck, but I'm not sure if that's the best way to go yet. I'll take a closer look at everything and go from there, so if you want to see what I decided to do, you'll just have to check back and watch tomorrow's upgrade guide. Well, my friends, that's all for today's video. Thanks for watching, but if you're looking for more Magic content to watch, please go browse my channel and take a look at some of my many other videos. I've made quite a few over the years that I think you'll enjoy, and then please be sure to check back tomorrow for that upgrade guide. Before you go, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, so you can be notified anytime I release new content, which is typically every Friday and occasionally on Saturdays. Have a great day, and I will see you all tomorrow.